Here's an example: state borders. Before, March last year, no one ever thought that a certain state in Australia could shut their border to other Australian citizens. It just wasn't. It wasn't heard of. It wasn't even contemplated. No one really thought it was legal. I imagine that you couldn't cross a state border, and now it's accepted that a normal citizen can't cross a state border. But here's an example of just the double standards and, a way that a totalitarian sort of government can operate, that, party members can do what they like sort of thing. For example, AFL footballers now are playing finals in, WA, they're playing finals in South Australia, they're playing finals in Tasmania, they're playing finals in Queensland, and most of them are coming from Melbourne, where a normal citizen cannot travel from Melbourne to any of those states. And if they are luckily enough allowed to do it, they have to quarantine for 2 weeks. The AFL, for instance, they're just crossing and playing football, no quarantine in a lot of these places. And if they do, it's only for a few days and it's only for, the look of it. It is just ridiculous. And where the state governments have the power now to say who can and cannot come into their states. It is absolutely ridiculous, and it's not being broadcast. The mainstream media are not covering it at all. They're just allowing it. It's absolute bullshit.
Being a part of a radio show and a widespread radio show, if you don't want to answer this, is absolutely fine. Do you ever get people say, "Oh, we really shouldn't talk about that on air"?
No, look. To be honest, my radio show is a comedy show, and that is
sure.
It is lighthearted, and I will talk about this stuff, and I'll do a Hughesy Lose It segment where I'll talk about that. For instance, AFL footballers can cross the borders, no quarantine. If you've got a sick relative in another state, just put on an AFL jumper and you'll be able to walk across the border. Sort of
yeah.
Do it in a funny way, and online. Partly, I am very much. I take the humour out probably on Twitter, and that's probably why I cop as much flack as I do, to be honest. So, yeah, I don't have people behind the scenes saying you can and can't say that. But, there's no doubt that when I do and when anyone gets vocal on this sort of thing, you do open yourself up to have, to limit your potential to earn like sponsorship dollars, if you know what I mean. So, because someone who's really noisy politically is probably not as likely to get an ad for, a certain product, if you know what I mean. So you certainly are yourself, but I have never had any pressure from my employers about it. But, yeah, you could see that they might not like it. Yeah, absolutely.